I was sober, but my brain was still a war zone. I'd quit drinking, which was supposed to be the answer to all of my problems. But the anxiety was just as loud as ever. Sometimes it was even louder. Every day felt like I was white knuckling my way through a life I didn't even recognize. I was starting to think I was failing at sobriety because my mind was still in total chaos. I thought getting sober was the finish line, but it turns out it was just the starting block, and I was completely stuck. When you're deep in addiction, you picture sobriety as this peaceful shore after a brutal storm. You think, if I can just stop, everything will be calm. But the reality for a lot of us is that when the substance is gone, the volume gets cranked way up on everything it was helping you ignore. For me, that was a constant humming anxiety that kicked in the second I opened my eyes. My life in active addiction thrived on chaos. And even though I was sober, my nervous system was still wired for that same frantic energy. Mornings were the absolute worst. They were this frantic rush of dread, just anticipating a whole day of fighting my own thoughts. I wasn't just tired, I felt completely depleted before my feet even hit the floor. This was not the peaceful recovery I pictured. It was a different kind of struggle, and I was losing hope that my mind would never feel quiet again. So, I didn't start waking up early to become some productivity guru. Honestly, I did it out of pure desperation. I figured if my anxiety was going to jolt me up at 3 a.m. anyways, I might as well get out of bed. I started setting an alarm for 5:30 a.m., not to get a head start on work, but to find just one moment of silence before the world and my own racing thoughts woke up. The first few days were just dark and quiet. I'd make a cup of coffee and just sit there. I didn't journal, I didn't meditate, I just sat in the stillness. And slowly, something started to shift. That hour before sunrise became my sanctuary. It was the only part of my day that felt like it belonged completely to me. And it wasn't about doing more, it was about being more. Just being present, being calm, and being in control of that first hour of my day. And I totally stumbled into this by accident, but it turns out there's a real connection between our morning habits and our mental state. For those of us in recovery, a predictable routine can be a powerful anchor. My old life was defined by unpredictability, and routines create a sense of safety that actually calms the nervous system. A simple, repetitive routine feels controllable, which helps dial down anxiety. It reduces the number of decisions you have to make, which frees up mental energy. This was huge for me. In early recovery, all my willpower was being used on this single decision not to drink. I had nothing left for anything else. And then there's the science of it. Getting sunlight within the first hour of waking up helps regulate your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm. And this rhythm affects everything from hormone to production and mood to sleep wake cycle. Morning light signals to your brain that the day has officially started, which can lead to better alertness and a more stable mood. In fact, one study shows that between being an early bird and mental health, researchers noted that 1 hour earlier sleep midpoint was associated with a 23% lower risk of major depression. Now, that's not a guarantee that changing your schedule will prevent depression, but it shows a powerful connection between when we sleep and how we feel. My morning routine isn't complicated. It's not about a 5 a.m. gym session or writing a novel before I eat. It's simple, and I think that's why it works. It's about consistency, not intensity. I wake up, drink a glass of water, and do a few minutes of reading. Then I have my coffee and sit and just watch the day begin. That's it. Some days I'll read, some days I'll sit there. It's the core of it is just quiet and stillness. This small pocket of peace sets the emotional tone for my entire day. It's a gentle start, which makes me way less reactive to the stress that inevitably comes later. This simple shift didn't magically cure my anxiety, but it gave me a real tool to manage it. It created a foundation of calm so I could build my day on. So, if you found a simple habit that has helped you unexpectedly in your mental health or your recovery, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. I used to think that sobriety was just about surviving without alcohol. But this small change taught me that recovery is about building a life you don't feel the need to escape from. The unexpected benefit of my early mornings wasn't about being more productive. It was about finding a quiet, predictable space where I could start the day feeling grounded. It gave me the stability to not just survive sobriety, but to actually live it. And for the first time in a long time, it gave me a sense of peace I thought I had lost for good.